What's up, everyone? I recently got the chance to sit down with David Shayne and Ken Cunningham, the writer and director of the LEGO Star Wars Summer Vacation special that came out this past weekend on Disney Plus. We talked all things LEGO Star Wars, Summer Vacation, Terrifying Tales, the holiday special, all three of the specials that they worked on. We talked about balancing humor and irreverence with heart and hope in the LEGO Star Wars universe. What is canon? What isn't? Does that even matter? What holidays do they hope to cover in the future? It was just a ton of fun, so here's the interview. I hope you enjoy. So I like to start all of my interviews with a little icebreaker question. My favorite Star Wars character is Biggs Darklighter, someone who's a little more surprising. So I like to ask people, what is your favorite background, maybe C or D list Star Wars character that doesn't get mentioned as much, someone you might be the biggest fan of in the world?
Ken, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure, because I've got my stock answer on this one that it's true. Like, and David knows what I'm going to say.
I know where you're going.
The Gaunt Droid.
Oh yeah, great one.
I always look for places to put him in the background, and yeah, I feel like there's a whole backstory for that guy or those poor those poor droids. They just really get the brunt of it.
And you did a great job getting them into this one, Summer Vacation. They're serving drinks on the Halcyon and stuff.
Yeah, so getting kicked out of the cantina. And yeah,
I love it, Alex. There's always that point. We've now done 3 of these specials together, and we've now learned, certainly by the second one, by the time we got to Halloween, we started looking very early on, even the animatics. You start looking for, okay, where's Ken going to slip in a Gaunt Droid? It's coming. And it's like our version of Where's Waldo. It's a good, it's going to be there. So I'm glad you noticed. To answer your question, and they also make an appearance, Max Rebo. I would like to hear the entire Max Rebo catalog. I would like to know about Max Rebo as what I like to think of as maybe a touring musician. Mm-hmm. Where's he been? What's he done? So we've managed to get Max in a couple of these too. So I'm going to go with Max Rebo.
Both great answers. I'm also a big fan of Max. I play piano, so I have him just scattered all over my piano area. But
that's nice.
Wonderful answers, both of you. Like you mentioned, you've both done a lot of work in the LEGO universe. What makes it attractive to you for storytelling?
It's a really, really, really fun place to play. I mean, and play is sort of the key word there. We get to tell these very fun stories that we sort of think of them as being canon adjacent. So they honor the Star Wars universe. They are using these great characters that we all know and love, but we get to tell them from a slightly, skewed sense of perspective and get to interject a bunch of humor, which is just, it's incredibly, it's just, as I said, it's incredibly fun. So and we still get to maintain all the action and the excitement and the heart. But get to do it from a slightly funny perspective. So it is always a treat when I know I'm going to get to sit down and write one of these, and then getting to see what Ken's amazing team does with it is just, it's a thrill.
Yeah, I always love just for all of the LEGO stuff I've done, I just imagine myself and a little DP as minifigs in this LEGO world and really try and approach it that way. And that's a really kind of fun approach to take when you're directing something, especially in animation. Like, you just imagine yourself in this world with a little crew, and that informs a lot of the choices I make.
Well, I think that you do a great job injecting the comedy and the heart into all of these tales, but Summer Vacation really surprised me. I was laughing my way through it, and then at the very end, especially with all the Ben Solo stuff, you really punched me in the gut. Surprised me with the flashback story and what was going on the Halcyon. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but say enough. So how is it striking that balance between irreverence and poking a little bit of fun at Star Wars while still maintaining what it is at its core?
Well, boy, Alex, you put it really well. That's exactly right. You want to maintain what it is to its core. We all start from a place that we're all fans. We all love this. And so getting our chance to explore this universe is really fun. So yeah, you want both the reverence and some irreverence. It really touches me that you responded to the heart. I will confess, the moments you're talking about, I still get choked up at. I got choked up when the actors did it, and certainly got choked up when I saw what Ken and everybody at Atomic did. Just everything from the lighting to the staging. So it's all of that. I mean, if you think about it, Star Wars itself, the universe contains all of those things. So in Lego Star Wars, we strive to keep that exact thing. So I'm really touched that it punched me in the gut. As I said, it punched me in the gut a bit too.
Yeah, it's great to hear that works, because I think I mean, I'll speak just for myself, but I feel like David probably feels the same way. Like, you rarely get to do that sort of thing in animation. Like, for comedy is a more natural fit for animation. So getting to do something where you're really like trying to strike that note kind of comes up rarely, and it was a great opportunity to get to do that. And it honestly is actually one of my favorite moments in the whole piece.
Yeah, I think it was mine as well. But I have a favorite joke as well from the special. Do you have favorite jokes that you wrote in? What was it? The Gaunt Droid being thrown out of the cantina, or was it something else?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's probably kind of one of my faves. But yeah, David's really the arbiter of that stuff, like being the writer and creating that stuff. And a lot of it more is coming from him. So I'll let him speak to his favorite moment.
Well, it's a cliche to say it's a team effort, but it is a team effort, and an enormous number of people contribute on the special, from everything top to bottom. But I will say, like, in terms of jokes, there's a couple of moments. There's a couple of exchanges with Boba Fett and Jabba that just we haven't really gotten to do that dynamic, or I haven't gotten to do that in Lego Star Wars. So that was really fun to write. Anytime we get Vader and Emperor together, it's always funny, and that really goes all the way back to Michael Price's work on the original Lego Star Wars specials dating back years. So anytime we get those two in a scene together, that's always extremely funny. And then actually Valeria's line, and I can't take credit for it, it came out of our writer's room. I wish I could remember which writer came up with the joke, but one of our writers came up with a very funny joke about Valeria commenting that the great pit of Carcoon is just a so-so pit, and that makes me laugh. Again, I wish I did. Kudos to the writer, you know who you are, who came up with that. I loved it. It wasn't me. It's a great joke.
My favorite was Tommy Two Horns, just that little throwaway line at Masamita. That had me bursting out laughing. Is that something you workshopped, or did you have other potential nicknames for him?
Boy, that's another one that probably came out of I'm sure that came out of our punch-up session. I think so here's the great thing is, so Trevor Duvall, who plays our Emperor, we write him lines and he does lines, and then he will also improvise, and he is just so naturally funny and can turn on that character in an instant. And so I love you that. Yeah, it's any moment with the Emperor. Honestly, he could probably read the phone book and it would make us laugh. But I'm glad you love the Tommy Two Horns.
You mentioned the Emperor a lot. I think he's someone that translates very well into the Lego universe, which seems kind of weird. What other characters do you think translate the best into the Lego universe? And are there any that you've maybe tried and you were like, this guy or person just does not work in the Lego universe?
I don't know if there's any that we've tried that hasn't worked. I've sort of found over time, what's interesting is all the actors, even the legacy the legacy actors will do a kind of fun spin on their character. So even, when we have Kelly Marie Tran, and she's Rose, and she's giving Rose this slightly, kind of a little skew, giving her a little bit of commentary on the moment. And my point being, the actors will sort of play it for laughs. James Arnold Taylor comes in and does a funny Obi-Wan, like he's doing a different version of it. So what's fun is it seems like all these characters, it seems like every character we've ever tried, there's a Lego version of that character that both honors and respects the character, but gives us a funny version. I mean, the Emperor, you're right, we really kind of play him over the top, and his relationship to Vader, we always all joke, it's Dwight Schrute and Michael Scott from The Office, and we get to play up that relationship. But it was in this special particular where we spend some time with Obi-Wan, James he was great. And again, it's Obi-Wan, but it's the Obi-Wan that we know and love from Clone Wars, but it's also, there's a funny little twist, and that's our actors just bringing it.
Ken, do you have a favorite Lego character from someone that you've translated, a legacy character?
I mean, I'd have to say like Valeria is one of my faves. Like she's just so cool and kick-ass. I mean, she like, you know, she had a history coming in, so you know, she was sort of created before I got my hands on her. But yeah, it was just super fun. And I always love, like, I have a 12-year-old daughter, so I always love getting the opportunity to kind of present like cool kick-ass females for her. So yeah, I'd say Valeria is my favorite.
That was someone who I was not expecting to pop up in this. I've watched the Freemaker Adventures and enjoyed her in that. So seeing her get some history within the Lego universe, it's kind of interesting to see that there are some repeating characters, that the universe kind of has its own canon, so to speak. And David, you mentioned it being canon adjacent, but is that kind of how you would say it fits in with the larger universe? I guess the way I've always thought of it or presented it myself is that it's a goofy retelling of events that did happen. Would that be accurate, or how do you view it?
I think that's fair. The question is did these events really happen, and sort of who's to say? But I mean, what we do is always try to respect what is going on in that time. I often give the example that if Darth Vader had passed away at this point in whatever story we're telling, then we can't say he's alive. So we try to be respectful of the timeline. We obviously get some room to stretch and play, but I think it's fun in some ways to leave it to the viewer to decide how much of this actually legitimately fits within the grand canon. So that's why we sort of landed on this idea of canon adjacent. It's respectful and reverent and acknowledges, but we're not quite as fully locked in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's sort of like in the spirit of the canon, if not canon, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think what you said puts it perfectly with kind of my opinion is, even after this, I kind of pick and choose what I want to be true. And like Finn being referred to as a Jedi, definitely searching the galaxy for other Force sensitives, or being trained by Rey. I loved Obi-Wan saying, like, I sensed a Jedi in need, you. So that stuff I definitely picked and pulled. And I'm like, yep, I firmly believe that. What was there any chance? Because there was one thing that really made me, as a lore junkie, like perk up when Finn was like, we're all separating and going on our different missions. And he's going to search for more Force sensitives. Rey is going to the unknown regions to search Jedi temples. Rose is doing relief missions. Poe is training X-Wing pilots. Now, all of those seem just like logical choices for those characters, but are you potentially dropping any hints for the future?
They are certainly logical choices. Who knows what's next? I'm not even being as coy as this sounds. It really is the question of who knows what's next. But they are, to your point, it felt like that is where these characters would go off and be. And I think, like all of us, we like to imagine what are those next adventures, what are those things that are happening that we haven't seen before. So like you, I like to sit and think about that.
Has there ever been anything that you pitched to Lucasfilm, whether it's a joke or a plot point, that they were like, that's a little too far into the Lego side of things? Maybe dial it back a little.
Well, I have this running joke that I keep telling them I want to do an Arbor Day special. And then they've told me that's too far.
You could do it on Kashyyyk indoor. There's so many choices.
I mean, it writes itself, Alex. We're gonna make it happen. No, they're pretty game. I mean, I'm sure along the ways, like, I've never worked on a show where every single joke the writers pitch get in. Sometimes things will get cut for time, things get condensed. There's nothing. I'm trying to think. Ken, can you think of anything? Like, I can't even think of, like, I'm particularly holding on to.
I mean, yeah, if you say like anything, it's mostly just for time.
Yeah.
You know.
I think at one point in the holiday special, in the first one I did, there was a whole version where 3PO was playing charades with the Wookiees that I had in my head that we cut for time, like thus making it the lamest holiday party ever. I don't know. Maybe you love charades. I'm sorry. I feel like there's going to be a part of our fan base. It's not going to be furious because they love charades. And
yeah, you just lost your charade audience
right there. It's gone. I'm sorry. It's your charade audience, Alex. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I apologize.
Well, we're almost out of time here, but you mentioned Arbor Day, and you've done now several out of universe holidays. The holiday special Life Day is an in-universe holiday, but is there any Star Wars holiday you would want to create or adapt into a future holiday special?
Is there? I mean, you know, who knows? It's one of those things. I think if people keep responding and ask for more, we'll find more to do. I personally, I don't know if there's a version of Valentine's Day that lives in the Star Wars universe, but I don't know. I would like to see those. I think it's fun to dive into relationships. Nothing's planned, but you never know. I don't know, Ken. What about you?
Oh, I think Gaunt Droid Day.
It's just.
Seems yeah, seems good.
It's like a revolution. They all rise up and take over the galaxy.
Yeah, there's a meta story there about yeah.
I'm in. There are a lot of Gaunt Droid fans out there. I've never met a single Star Wars fan that was like, no, don't like Gaunt Droids. So I think that's highly marketable. Maybe you can combine Arbor Day with Gaunt Droid Day and kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah,
I love it. That's a great idea. I'm in, Ken. 44 minutes of just gonk. I'm in. That sounds awesome.
Well, I think that's our time. So thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to speak with us. I really, really did enjoy the special. All of the Lego specials have been a welcome treat every year. So I hope you get to keep knocking them out every year. And we have the Valentine's Day, Arbor Day, Gaunt Droid special to look forward to in the future.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you so much.
It's really nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you too.